So we are already at the semi-finals of the Dubai Sevens with only the 8 sides. It means no quarterfinals, so just 2 games away for these 2 sides from being able to take out the title. And this is an absolutely huge semi-final. It is Fiji versus New Zealand. Now, so many times on the 7 circuit, we have seen this as a final. It will certainly be worthy of one. And in this preview, we'll be looking through at the key players, what these 2 sides have done up till this stage of the competition, and then also a prediction at the end who I think will win this match. But we are going to be jumping straight into it. We will start with New Zealand, as they are the only undefeated side at this stage of the competition, which I guess does show with the 8-team format now that we have rather than 12 or 16. It is extremely competitive. 2 out of the 3 games for the Kiwis have been split by 7 or less points, but they did start off their campaign up against Great Britain, and they were able to beat them 21 points to the 14. They were then up against the Australians, which could potentially be the final, as Australia on the other side of the draw. They are taking on the French in semi-final number 2, but New Zealand winning that contest 21 points to 17, and then having a decent win over the Spanish 24 points to 7. Their only game separated by 7 or more. For the Fijians, they had a great win over Argentina for their first contest of the competition. Now, that was in Pool A, which was absolutely stacked. Argentina, Fiji, South Africa, France. If that doesn't scream out the pool of death, I don't know what does, because all 4 of those sides are good enough to be through in these semi-finals, but sadly only the 2 could make it. And in this case, it was Fiji as well as the French, but getting the win in that game, 26 points to 19 after being down by 12 points. So a slightly shaky start to the campaign for Fiji, but they managed to fight back well, get themselves a very solid win. Their next game was up against South Africa, a game that I was anticipating would be pretty close, as the South African defence throughout the early stages of the competition was very strong. They were actually able to beat the French in round number 1, but Fiji just kept on piling on that pressure, some great possession throughout the game, winning at 28 points to 10, which out of their 2 first games, I would say was probably their bigger win. Yes, it was impressive coming back up against Los Pumas, but up against the South African side that looked certain to make it through to the semi-finals, to be able to beat them by 18 points was quite the statement made. And then their last game, it was up against the French, a close one, but France managing to take out the victory, 24 points to 19. Now, because of that loss for Fiji, it actually meant that they dropped from number 1 qualifier to 2nd. So rather than facing up against the Australians in the semi-finals, because of New Zealand sitting at the top of their pool and being undefeated, it meant that we get this New Zealand-Fiji match maybe a little bit earlier than most would have liked. But looking through at the key players for New Zealand in their last game up against the Spanish, that victory, 24 points to 7. We saw Frank Wainuku score himself 2 tries in that contest. Also, Brady Rush got 1, and then also Sophie Natoa Tipo. So it's an interesting trend for New Zealand. Definitely in that game, they scored a lot of tries early. Then they had that quiet patch where Spain tried to fight back into the game with a try of their own with Eduardo Lopez, but then finishing the game well for the Kiwis. So as long as they can keep that trend, that quiet patch in the middle, that's the danger zone. That is where Fiji really need to target New Zealand, because they actually fell into the same trend in their game up against the French. They went 10 minutes in the middle of that contest without scoring any tries. We did see Josefa Talatholo scoring in the 3rd minute, then Jeremiah Matana, the captain, in the 13th, and then also Apeti Narongo got himself the try in the 15th minute of that contest, whereas for the French, they scored 4 tries in that in-between period. So whoever's more clinical in that middle stage of the contest, I believe, will win this match between Fiji and New Zealand. But the chances of it being an extremely close game are relatively high. I feel like France versus Australia, a bit the same, although we did see the French get themselves a massive win over the Pumas in the group stage. So after having that loss in round 1, France definitely still a side to keep an eye on throughout this competition. You got the Australians, did very well up against New Zealand, all but beating them in the first game, but that came down to the missed kicks from the Aussies, so they will want to make sure that that is 100% throughout this next contest. So there's so many little individual battles, as well as what could be coming up next in this Dubai Sevens competition as well. But jumping into the prediction, this is very tough, and it always is when these 2 sides play, because you can either get a game that goes absolutely down to the wire and be a match of the year candidate, or you get a game that one side shows up and the other one doesn't. Now, personally, throughout their first matches, even though Fiji do have a loss, I do think they've looked extremely strong. They showed great versatility up against the Pumas. They showed some dominance at times up against the Blitzboks, which not many sides can say that. And then up against the French, they didn't get it right in the middle of that game. France took the momentum. And Fiji, they did extremely well, though, because they did still get that bonus point, which shut down any chance of getting knocked out before the semi-finals. But I am going to go close game here. I'm going to go 19 points to 17 in favor of Fiji. I actually think the kicking could be the difference in this contest. And something that Fiji have done extremely well throughout this competition is when they get themselves a breakaway try, they run it right round. They score between the posts, and at this point in time, throughout the competition, we have only seen Fiji miss the 2 kicks in total. For New Zealand, they've actually been pretty clinical off the kicking tee as well. Their first 2 games, 100% accuracy was 6 from 6. Their game up against Spain, they did miss 2. You could argue that because they were so far in the lead that maybe it wasn't as crucial for those kicks to go over, but in this type of matchup, Fiji will not make it easy for the Kiwis to score close to the posts, which is going to really rely on Akulia Roka-Lesoa and the way that he is able to kick the ball, which is normally extremely accurate. But I am going to say there'll be a couple missed in this contest. So honestly, I'm going 19 points to 17 either side. I've changed my mind. I'm terrible at predictions because I'm too indecisive, but we're going one of these 2 sides to win by 2 points. It's a bit of a cop-out, but maybe it will be the reality of the semi-final. But the game is kicking off at 11:28 p.m. New Zealand time as well as Fijian time. We are going to be doing the live commentary on the channel, so be sure to stick around for that one. It is the second semi-final that has taken place. The first one, France versus Australia, kicking off just prior, so we will be doing that one on the channel as well. But overall, a big day for the Dubai Sevens, and we are going to be here every step of the way. But thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, of course, be sure to leave a like and subscribe, and let me know who you think will be winning this match in the comments down below, and I will see you all for the next one.